Hey, Dan Meyer here, and I'm back once again, and this time with a new series focused on entrepreneurship. And we're going to call this Why I Left Wells Fargo. Now, Wells Fargo Bank is one of the top 4 banks in the United States. It's a huge employer, hundreds of thousands of employees, offices all over the world. I worked there for 15 years, and I enjoyed it. I actually really loved working for Wells Fargo. But after 15 years, I kind of got to the point where I was ready to do my own thing. I left the bank and set up my own business, but I didn't just do it overnight. I planned it for about a year before I actually left to be able to be more successful. I'm a planner, I'm an organizer, I'm very strategy driven, incredibly data driven. That's my niche, that's my superpower, business analytics. And so I turned my skill that I had fine-tuned working with Wells Fargo into my own business, and I never regretted it for a moment. So if you are the target of this video, which is, I'm guessing you work for a corporation, probably a Wells Fargo or Wells Fargo-like entity, another financial services company like Bank of America or Citibank, or you work in somewhere in corporate America where you've done something where you've got really good at what you do. And over that period of time, you become indispensable, you become invaluable, but you find yourself not quite being where you want to be. That's where I was at, and I'm guessing that's where you're at. So I'm going to give a series of videos that are going to talk about why I left, what I did before I left, how I left, what are the things I did to ensure that when I left my corporate job, I would be successful as an entrepreneur. And then what are the lessons I learned early on, and how did I overcome certain challenges? What did I do after the first failure I had? These lessons I hope will help you as you decide to step aside from your corporate world and get into the world of entrepreneurship. Because when you do that, you're going to be much, much happier. It's not always easy. It can start out kind of rough, but in hindsight, I know very few successful entrepreneurs who don't say the same thing. Yeah, the leaving my corporate job was the best thing I ever did. So there are really 3 things that happened to me that kind of like made me go, okay, it's time to leave. I need to really seriously think about moving outside of corporate world and do my own thing. And the first one was I hit a ceiling professionally. I hit a ceiling. You know, it's like, and I'm sure a lot of you feel like this, like you're really good at something, but you don't have all the check boxes in your favor to move up into senior management. I have a master's in education. I used to be a college teacher, yet I wasn't really going to be able to go up in Wells Fargo because I didn't have an MBA. I was never going to be an executive, right? So it's like, went back to school, got an MBA. I also never really was great at managing a lot of people. I could manage small teams. But when it gets to managing organizations, it's kind of boring for me. It's just not my cup of tea, right? I like to solve short, quick, tactical problems. I like to be able to look at the strategic picture, but not be the one to have to day after day try to implement it. It's just not my cup of tea. So it's never going to go into some kind of place where I could manage a lot of people. And then what I wanted to do, which was to go into helping set up outsourcing with a bank, being able to set up, call centers overseas and helping manage that whole process because I wanted to travel. I was good at it, but didn't have the background in it. My background was in data analytics, and I was too siloed. I couldn't be a business analyst and move over to a transition manager. It's just that the bank didn't do that kind of stuff, right? Probably still doesn't. So anyway, I hit a ceiling professionally. I applied for a lot of jobs, was posting out, and just constantly getting interviews and then no's. Or, great, but you're not the right fit. You're not really the person we're looking for right now. Good luck, keep trying, whatever. And after years of moving up in the bank, I started in customer service, moved up to project management, got into analytics. I had, about 12 years of consistent growth in my career, but the last couple, I got kind of stuck because I was really the best analyst I could be. And that's all I was really becoming, was just an analyst. And I knew this because not only had I hit the ceiling, but everyone turned to me to solve problems when it comes to data. We need to fix this report. We need to figure out why this behavior is happening among this customer segment. We got to figure out which opportunities are in the new region we're going to be launching this new product in. Everyone come to me, marketing, compliance, risk, everyone's coming, Dan, help us find this data, help us figure out how to build a report, help us figure out how to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And it was like, okay, so I'm doing all this stuff for everyone, and my work is having a huge impact, and I'm getting all kinds of perks and thank yous and stuff, but my perks were small and my thank yous weren't very deep, and I wasn't really able to monetize that in a way that I could if I had worked independently from the bank, right? And I didn't see that until the last couple of years. And what I mean by that is, like, I worked well. I got a lot of good reviews. I got a lot of good bonuses. I got consistent raises. So I was never bitter about it. But I just saw that the big money goes to the ones that were using my analysis and using my data but it wasn't going to me. And I'm sure you can relate to that. If you're working at Wells Fargo and you've been in your job for several years and you developed an expertise, you're probably saying to yourself sometimes, okay, so I did all the work, but the boss is getting the credit. They're the ones getting the stock options. They're the ones that are being able to jump from job to job and get, 20, 30, 40% pay increases. And I'm stuck here getting my 3 to 5% merit increase and my couple $1,000 bonus. It's just not fair, right? So again, it's just corporate America. It's how it's designed. I don't know why they do that, but they do. And so I was the one everyone turned to, but I didn't feel like what I was producing was what I was getting in fair compensation for. And I mentioned that I was the best at what I did. I mean, I was literally one of the top analysts in the bank. I knew every system. I knew every language for programming. I could do anything for anyone. I was the one trend setting and learning new applications. Like when Tableau first came out, I was one of the first power users. I was the first one to do a business dashboard and customer and card services. All this kind of stuff. I was like the best at what I did. And I was so good at it. People kept saying, well, you're amazing. I started thinking, well, why am I just doing this for Wells Fargo for my salary? What if I do this for other companies, maybe even Wells Fargo, but as a contractor and make a lot more money? So there were obviously some risks in this decision. Like, I had to decide that, well, do I want to give up my benefits? And what if, I can't find clients? And so I spent a good year preparing for that. So I'll talk about that in future videos, but I knew it was time to leave Wells Fargo. As you're probably thinking, it's time to leave your corporate job because you've hit a ceiling professionally. You're the one everyone turns to, but you never get back what you think you deserve. And you're so good at what you do, you get kind of, bored. Like, how much more can I learn and still not see the lifestyle that I really want to have? If those kind of things in the back of your mind, or even if you're talking about them with your coworkers, then watch these videos. There'll be one dropping a couple a week, probably one every Tuesday and Thursday in a couple of weeks. You'll see new videos on why I left Wells Fargo and why it was the best decision I ever made and how I made it to be very successful in the 12 years since I left the bank. Thank you for your time. Now get out there and have a great day.